All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Slow Food Lunch Break. We are here with a whole panel of folks to talk about farmers markets. And I'm having trouble unmuting Susie here, unfortunately. So maybe Susie can help me out and unmute her. And welcome everybody from Facebook. And we're going to play this a little bit later on Instagram as well. You'll be able to catch this later. I want to remind everybody that during these, we really enjoy answering guest questions. And so you're welcome to ask us questions right in the comments, and we'll do our best to answer them during the stream. Before we get started, though, I want to go ahead and give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves to everybody. We're all just getting acquainted before we started here. So first, I want to introduce Casey Cutler. She's the executive director of Good Local Markets. And it looks like you're joining us from a headquarters over there, Casey. So thanks for coming today. Why don't you talk a little bit about what you do and who you are?
Yeah, thank you so much, Seth. So I'm Casey. I run Good Local Markets, and we are, yes, the headquarters of our office here in East Dallas. So we operate two producer-only farmers markets here in the Dallas area. White Rock Farmers Market, which most are familiar with because it's been around for about 13 years, and also Lakewood Village Farmers Market, which has been around for 2 years. So anyone that's been to our markets has probably seen me at the info booth.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, I think you're going to get a lot of new fans after today.
I hope so.
I want to introduce Charlie Blaylock. He's down there in the Blaylock. I'm sorry, in the bottom. It's early for me still. I don't know. It's noon is pretty early for me. My mouth is all marbles. I'll get better about halfway through, guys. He's the manager at Cowtown Farmers Market. Charlie, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've got going on?
It's okay, Seth. That's not an easy last name. I get lots of charity.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So I'm the market manager and president of Cowtown Farmers Market, and I also, when I operate a farm, I'm a farmer, Chine's Farm Stand, and when I joined Cowtown Farmers Market, I was surprised by our lack of farmers, which is quite a common theme, and so that made me get involved in more activism about. I like the word; it makes me giggle. Activism. It made me get involved with the Tarrant County Food Policy Council, Grow Southeast Fort Worth, which we're helping people in food deserts start urban farms. And I actually mentor a couple of other urban farms as well for people who are trying to get started. So growing more farmers is part of what I do, along with growing super awesome vegetables.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Charlie. And Susie Marshall, our final guest today, is the executive director of Grow North Texas. And Susie, why don't you say hi to everybody and let us know what you're up to?
Hi, everyone. I'm Susie Marshall, and I run Grow North Texas. I couldn't figure out who I was for a second. We're a nonprofit organization that works to strengthen our local food system. And that means we work to help increase local production and local food access. And so we've ended up providing actually an outlet. We have a 7-day-a-week store at the Dallas Farmers Market that provides a place for local food artisans and local farmers to have their stuff out in a retail space 7 days a week. So you can come on down and see us. We're open 10 to 6. And we have another program that actually works on the issue of access, and that provides, in fact, Charlie and I both do this program in our respective places, provides an extra benefit for WIC families. We have also gotten into trying to educate farmers and kind of had a fits and starts around that. But when we got into this world of food systems and started working on the issue of strengthening and making products more available, we realized there weren't enough farmers. And so we got into trying to support that growth of the farmer and keep them in business too once they get started.
Well, that is some valuable work. And I want to point out to everybody watching at home that we've got people that basically represent every major farmers market, say for maybe one in the area. And if you have real questions about farmers markets, you don't find a group of experts like this every day. So I think that we can definitely get a lot of questions answered. So I want to thank you all for joining us so much. And we've been having so much fun here with these little lunch breaks. It's really been an educational thing for us at Slow Food and for all of our audience as well. And it's really nice that we've got such good access to so many experts here in the DFW area. I want to kick this off with a question that we've been kind of balancing a lot from our audience. We've been talking about access to food. We've been talking about kind of folks in this new COVID area paying a little bit more attention to what they put in their bodies and being really interested in localizing the food supply. And something that we hear a lot about is that farmers markets aren't convenient and there aren't enough of them. And I just want to open that question up to everybody here. And let's just break that down a little bit and talk about maybe what the misconceptions are there, or, maybe that is the truth, but then also kind of, what we can do to make these things a little bit more available to people.
Sure.
That's a big question. Yeah, go ahead, Casey.
It's a loaded question. We get that question quite often, and I always laugh because I think if I had a nickel for every time somebody asked me to open a farmer's market, then I would be able to fund our whole nonprofit. So we get asked why, we're not in X community, or we should open a farmer's market here. But when we do get asked to open a farmer's market in a certain location, 90% of the time, it's the developer asking us to come be at their shopping center to drive people into their tenants. So I know for us at Good Local Markets, we're definitely farmer first. So we definitely promote local farmers, producer only, and we want to make it to their benefit where it's feasible and they're in the right spots where they're selling and really making a good business out of it. And so if we're partnering with people that don't have that same mission and they just want you to truck in produce so you get more people to go into their stores, that doesn't align with what we do. And you certainly won't see farmers at that kind of farmers market. So a lot of what we struggle with is finding the perfect location to be at, where we are supporting our community, we are supporting our farmers, and we are making it accessible. And it just happens to be that everyone that asks us is a developer that has different intentions. And we try really hard not to get pinned into the pressures of, where's all the produce, or, having to bring in produce from other places, because that's not anything that we would do. So a lot of it is capacity of farmers, as we were talking about earlier. I mean, Charlie, how many farmers markets can you be at on a Saturday? Can you split yourself to 1 million locations?
Just the one. So there's a couple of things Casey brought up that I want to point out for us. We operate at Cowtown Farmers Market a slightly different model. We're not under a parent nonprofit. We're actually a co-op of truck farmers that self-funds to pay our rent, do our advertising, and all of the things that we need to do. But it's exactly that model, even though it's slightly different, is exactly what Casey is saying. It's farmers making sure other farmers have a market. When the developers come and ask us, the way that played out with COVID is a developer is more concerned about meeting some criteria for what they're going to do for capacity and all of those things. And so the developer market's all shut down for COVID-19. Whereas we were able to go to the city of Fort Worth, who is very friendly to us, and said, hey, we're an outdoor retail grocery store. We are an essential business, and they recognized us as that. So we were able to stay open, because we know as farmers that if we are not open for asparagus season, we just lost an entire crop for an entire year.
Right. Yeah.
So we're more invested in the farmers being successful. And I forgot to tell you.
Well, so it sounds to me like part of this is about, when we're really buying from real farmers at a real farmers market, part of that is that people can't be in more than one place at once. We live in a really big metroplex. It's very wide and there's a lot of people here, but it's really there aren't markets everywhere for everybody. And so, when we talk like this, is the solution to increase the number of markets and perhaps have smaller markets? Or do you think that it's more wise to do centrally located things and just sort of try to get more and more farmers and more people to come to, the larger style event kind of markets?
So thanks, Seth. That reminded me.
Perfect.
Which is that my friend Brad in North Carolina started a company called Fresh List, where he could aggregate for the local farmers and deliver to restaurants to streamline that business that we don't have here. Within 50 miles, he could stop at 150 farms.
Wow.
In 150 miles, we're lucky to get 50 farms. So we're kind of the inverse of that. Now, why is that, right? I had this question just last week. Why aren't the farmers markets bigger? We're the business friendliest state in the nation. Why aren't markets bigger? Because business is not soil. We have soil with a pH of 9. We have it freeze a month, 100 degrees. We have rain and drought consecutively in the same year. There's what we have is a particularly harsh environment to grow, and that makes it harder to be successful as a farmer, which is why we have fewer farmers, in my opinion.
Yeah, and shoot, I started to talk, and then I think I think the farmers market should be accessible to people, and so they need to be. If they're small, they're small. But they need to be accessible, so they need to be easy to get to, and they need to be comfortable for somebody to go to. And what we've seen at the Dallas Farmers Market, as that has turned kind of changed. I mean, it's always kind of been, at least in the last couple of decades, 30 years or so, it's been a place to go on the weekends, even though they've had produce 7 days a week. It was at one time all farm direct, when the world was different, before we had Walmart, before we had distribution systems like we have now. But what we've seen now is it is a large market, and to stay alive, that large market has to have events. And so we don't get people, and this is not necessarily this is just the reality of what we've seen being there all the time. We don't get people coming to see that as their grocery store. We get them coming to come to the event that's there. Mm-hmm. And it's a different crowd than would come, and which is fine. I'm glad they're coming, but in terms of having consistent sales, and in terms of having and building a customer base that really understands what's going on, it's very difficult because it's not a consistent group of people coming.
So do we think that farmers markets, part of this growth is sort of transitioning from being something that really for a lot of people is about entertainment and is about, hanging out and kind of visiting a farmer's market versus people really buying their groceries there? Can we envision a world where, people are actually, when I guess I'll backtrack here. I lived in Providence when I was in college, and we had a farmer's market that moved around the city like every day. I think it was like 6 days a week. And I would go to the farmer's market multiple days, and there'd be different vendors, and it'd be out in front of a high school, it'd be in a big field, it'd be at a church or whatever. And there were people that would just grocery shop at the farmer's market all the way up until the fall, and when it had to move indoors, and it was just sort of a, beans and rice and squash kind of thing, and it was sort of normal part of the community. And that just doesn't seem to be a feature that we have necessarily in our area. So how do we envision this kind of moving toward a place where it's a little bit more sustainable, but it's also more fulfilling for the people that are looking to buy product as infrequently as they are?
So interestingly for us, our market is an old school one. It's one of the 1985-86 markets that was created by Jim Hightower a long time ago. When I joined the board, there were very old, crotchety men and women who were operating. And they were adamant that we were not going to have music and outdoor yoga and that kind of thing. It was very important for them that we stay that. And being young or like being 20 years younger than all of them, I thought, well, we absolutely want to be moving to this cooler kind of farmers market with lots of things that entertain people and draw customers in. And over the past 5 years, I really appreciate that they stuck to their guns so hard to make it a grocery store. They even had to fight me trying to bring in all sorts of events. And so we've gone to where we have specialty events. We have this year, it'll be weird. I think we're only going to have 2, but we'll have 3 or 4 specialty events. But the rest of the time we operate as a grocery store, and our customers are that way. We have from 8 or really from 7:30 until 9, all of our regulars come through every week, and we've been able to keep it that way. That's probably because we're in a weird neighborhood that's hard to access, and kind of the Fight Club style of farmers market.
Sometimes that's the best. I mean, for sure, that does seem to be the trend in these markets, or really, let's be real, right? And just all commercial real estate in general, the trend seems to be activating the spaces with some sort of event to bring physical bodies there, and then hoping that as a secondary thing, they actually buy something, right? And so if you look at the trends in food and in grocery and in delivery, I mean, I'm going to be honest, we did our first grocery store delivery ever a couple weeks ago because of COVID. And we were like, I'm not going to wade through the grocery store wearing a mask and all this, and it was during the week, and we got a delivery, and it was fantastic. And so I wonder, as our population begins to experience more and more of this kind of convenience with the food, typically convenience wins in food. Restaurants get more and more convenient, not less and less convenient, right? Grocery stores the same. And so how can farmers markets begin to embrace the level of convenience that people might actually want so that we can grow our popularity some? Casey or Susie, do you guys have any thoughts on that? I mean, there certainly has to be something more than just events, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, we have dabbled with doing events at our market, and it's certainly a marketing ploy to reach out to new customers so that we can say, oh, and by the way, you should be shopping and doing all these things. And a lot of times we do gather people that have learned about us through the event. So, a lot of people do just come because they want to bring their dog in a Halloween costume, or they want to eat pie. But a lot of times we do capture people that will come back over and over. And we've been lucky as a farmers market organization to have really dedicated customers, rain or shine, storms, hail, COVID, pandemics. We have people shopping as their grocery store, which is incredible.
Wow,
So we're very lucky in that sense. But I forget what your original question is already.
Well, I just wonder, other than things like events, which are sort of made to, they're kind of made to bring people into the space so that they can understand what they're missing. But really, a lot of people now are looking for more convenient ways of purchasing food. And I wonder if there's not two values that are competing here. One, which is like a lot of people are saying, I want to get to know my farmer. We've got some questions about that coming up. But the other one is, I don't have time for this. And I wonder where.
Convenience is the enemy. Convenience is definitely something that, we've seen all of the home chef trends that have popped up. And then, don't get me started on imperfect produce as a trend that's popped up. But these are definitely things that we compete with regularly. So we try to be consistent with our markets by being there every Saturday, every Sunday. So, if it's not, a lot of people have to be dedicated in believing in that mission of, yes, I'm going to take the extra steps to buy directly from my farmer. So we rely a lot on that customer farmer relationship just to get them there. But we're also working, and we're going to start working more with farmers to pair their food together. So if you're pairing, your potatoes and onions together, and be like, you can just bake this. So kind of just having it on your table and then showing how you can do it at home. So it's sort of like the prepared or prepackaged ways, but you're also spiking ideas in people's minds, being like, oh yeah, I can throw all those vegetables and bake them. So it's also just how you set up your table. So coming up with ideas of how to cook conveniently at the market, or doing the recipes, or showing people ideas, is one way that we're able to help combat that.
I think
that's a good idea.
I think in this day and age, we do have to help people along in knowing what to prepare to figure out, well, how many yellow squash do I need to buy?
Yeah.
You can really fast a whole lot of yellow squash.
I have so much squash right now, and I have that same problem, because you want to support them, and then you end up with all this stuff, and I don't know how to cook that well. So what do I do with this huge bag of squash that I just purchased?
Oh, well, you gotta puree it and freeze it. It freezes really well like that.
Shred it and do it like hash browns in the skillet. That's really good too.
Yeah.
But I think in Dallas and probably at least some in Fort Worth, but my perception is it's less in Fort Worth. But Dallas is a lot about convenience over community, and we've struggled with that a lot. And I'm really hoping that we can, especially now, begin to move back the other way, where community becomes really important, since we haven't been able to be in community as much.
Right.
Yeah.
We've realized that online is not the same as being in person. And so maybe we can kind of capture that. I think there's several things that are happening right now in the local food world that we hope to be able to capture some of post-COVID. But I'm hoping that community is one of those things. And we do need to do more. We need to do more customer education. And it's hard. It's hard for us to do it because we're all so busy doing all the things that we do, and having the capacity to then do that one more thing when maybe it's not even our strength.
Talk about a high effort business. I mean, this is about as high effort as it gets. I want to cut in here with a couple questions from the audience. Peter was asking about local wine producers, and I actually don't know. I would normally know the answer to this kind of question, but I don't know what kind of regulations there are on wine producers selling at things like farmers markets. Being able to move beer and wine that way. That seems like a TABC fire issue to me. I'm not sure.
Definitely a permitting issue. I mean, I know for us, we'll never be able to have wine and beer, because one of our locations is in the parking lot of a Baptist church. So I
sure.
think
Welcome to Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of our restrictions are either, our host, and what their wants are about what we do, or it's permitting. So if we were selling alcohol, I think there'd be a whole nother layer of health code and a lot of money behind it. But I mean, I tell people where they can go. There's a lot of great, breweries, and we've done a couple events at the local breweries or at the local wine places in East Dallas, just to connect people on another level, and then support people that can't be at market. So I'm with you, Peter. I would love to be having local wine at market too.
I agree. I want to have one more Peter from question up here as well. It's about cooking classes at farmers markets, and I know this is something that some of the larger markets have gotten into. But is this something that you guys have considered adding, or something you're already doing?
It's something that we do at our events. We have a guest chef, and them cooking from the market and demonstrating how they cook. We do a demonstration 3 or 4 times a year, depending on when our events are. And we have some really great, some mind-blowing chefs. Actually, we had one of them pair smoked chicken hearts with strawberries, which is not something I would normally put together. And I was stunned at how awesome it was.
Yeah, delicious. Okay, cool. So that seems like something people have been doing, but for the market itself to run something like that, it seems like it'd be a pretty big lift, right? I mean, usually you're going to be relying on maybe an outside chef or an outside restaurant or something like that for that kind of opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also trying to get people to watch the cooking demo at the same time, or getting customers at the market at the same time, because customers, come through, everyone's on a different schedule. So that's one reason that we haven't, is how do we get people to come and stop at the same time at market? So that's just a barrier that we've seen.
Yeah, talking about the convenience thing again, right? I mean, it gets a little complicated sometimes when you're organizing all of that. Mm-hmm. I want to call out.
Seth,
go ahead.
to go into that convenience discussion a little bit more, we've been able to, so Susie and I support WIC clinics with farmers markets. It's part of the Texas Department of Agriculture program, and it's great. What we have just started this year is moving to WIC clinics around the city so that we have a midweek market. We're opening it to the public, so we get kind of the convenience of being in people's neighborhoods, but the primary goal, we talk in permaculture all the time about stacking functions. Our primary goal is to manage the food justice part of that conversation, right? To support the WIC clinics, have good, healthy, fresh food available to the WIC clinics. But since we're doing that anyway, we might as well cover up the convenience by being in other people's neighborhoods.
I think that's a good point. I want to get into food justice here in just a second, but before that, I want to bring up one more comment here from Savannah. She's mentioned that market provisions is super convenient because you guys are open, like 6 days a week, right? So there's 7. Okay, so you can actually get local farm fresh product 7 days a week now at market provision. So that is a really good option. Do we see that as maybe that style of option becoming a long-term solution for other markets as well, where they could, expand their days by sort of running a sort of a smaller style market daily that could be stocked with more product for people?
Well, it's actually, you end up with, well, let me first say, I believe that small scale grocery is a solution to the food access issue, but I also think it's a solution where, well, it's something we should be looking at, whether it's in a neighborhood that has zero healthy food access or pretty good food access. I still think we need small scale. We need diversity in our retail food world. Our issue at Market Provisions is we're still limited by the customers we have. We can only take in so much farmer produce. And we, if we had more customers, then we would be buying more produce. Same thing with it's a chicken and egg thing. We've got to have the customers coming so we can sell our produce, so we don't throw it, we don't put it in the compost pile. And it is convenient, and we think we're great. And we're actually working on kind of expanding our options in bringing in some things you might see at a grocery store, higher quality kind of staple items that you might be able to get at a grocery store, bringing them into our store so that we can better serve the people that live right around us. But we're still limited by the number of people that live close to us that are cooking. And, we still need to do better on helping them know how to prepare that. But I think it's an option, but you're still then running a business all the time that has different overhead, that actually has, real overhead and needs staffing and product management and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would say, something that people probably don't know about the food business is that it's extremely hard to make money on produce at every level of the food business. It's very hard for the farmer. It's hard for a grocery store. It's hard for a restaurant. There's nobody
because there are too many other people in the middle.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm always amazed at how many. There's the shipper packer, there's the broker, there's the distributor, there's another broker sometimes.
Brokers on brokers, and they seem to be doing okay for themselves.
That's where the money
everybody else.
is in the middle.
Yeah, it's challenging, and so we talk about one side of this problem, which is supply, and we're looking for more local farmers. I want to get into that because I think there's some folks here that could help people get excited about maybe starting their own farm. But the other side of it is going to be about just needing more customers, more regularity. But, one of the problems I see with that is, folks just frankly don't buy that much fresh produce that we are able to grow locally in the first place. I know, you go out to the farmer's market, everybody's always looking for bananas and avocados and mangoes and all these things that we just don't grow here. Welcome to North Texas. None of that stuff grows here. It never will. Maybe in 50 years, but not anytime soon, we hope. And The other side of this, though, is that there are a lot of people that can access this and aren't using it. And so we need to change that. But then the other side of this is equity, right? And we're talking about making sure that we've got increased access for more people. You brought up WIC clinics earlier, and I would love if you could just talk a little bit about more what that means, and then maybe we could discuss some of the other strategies that we have for increasing the availability of this food, where people are really going to appreciate it and be excited to go get it.
So for me, what I've been really surprised by is how much support there is already there that we need to just put the pieces together. I was able, with a lot of help from the Blue Zones Project at Fort Worth, be able to get SNAP accepted at our farmers market. And they also do our Double Up Bucks program, so that farmers market food is slightly on the expensive side, and so high quality something. I don't think I'm supposed to say my food is expensive, but anyway,
it costs more when it comes from a small farm.
Yeah, it has to.
Small farm, we don't have economy of scale like big farms do. So so it's more expensive to compensate for that, so that we can get local food to local people in need, that they have a Double Up Bucks program. So they get twice as much produce for the same amount their account is charged for. And we also support the WIC clinics through a voucher program. So the SNAP program is funded half by the national program and then half by Blue Zones. And our WIC program is funded by the Texas Department of Agriculture. Those are systems already in place that people have saw the need for, trying to put all the pieces together to make sure that we take advantage of it, and then create the distribution that goes through it. That's the downside. That's why Susie and I work for free, is because there's not a way to pay for the distribution of it. So
sure. Yeah, that's tricky.
I think I've found that with our WIC farm stands, the model that we use is we actually serve as the representative of the farmer, and we take our staff goes and takes the food to the WIC clinics, and we've set it up as a farm stand. I mean, they can come through and they can shop and choose what they want, at least prior to this year. This year we're doing it differently for obvious reasons. But what we've found is that being in that setting with knowledgeable staff and staff who looks like our customers coming through can really make a difference in how willing people are to try something. If they see the person in front of them choosing beets, they're like, well, maybe. And then one of the staff people says, oh, well, yeah, you just do this and this. It's really easy and they're really good for you. And she talks about the nutrients. And so there's education that happens as they're going through, and there are other people waiting in line hear that. So it's a really great opportunity. And I feel like we've found the place where affordability and access kind of have crossed and met. And the thing we haven't been able to do, and some of this is just the nature of our capacity, but also WIC in of itself and the privacy of the customers, is we don't have really great feedback on how much of that produce they do end up using. But we do know what they're purchasing, and they are making those steps to purchase, and they're coming back year after year. And so here's a place where we've been able to use the WIC program, the WIC Farmers Market Nutrition Program, which is what this voucher program is officially called, to help make the produce affordable for these moms and their kids, and changing their attitudes about some produce. I think beets is one of the things that we've been able to shift some attitudes on, and some familiarity with. And I think that conversation, we can't just pop in, like I can't just take market provisions and pick it up and put it in a neighborhood that doesn't have good food access, a low income neighborhood that doesn't have good food access.
Right.
It's not going to work. You've got to have an incremental change.
Right.
You've got to have some I've started calling them subsidized markets for better for worse, if that's the right term, but a market that is looking to provide healthy food at an affordable rate, and that might have to be subsidized in some way.
I think that makes sense. Part of this is a cultural issue just across the board of getting people to eat the foods that they say that they want to eat, right? A lot of people say that they want to go to a farmer's market and appreciate this stuff. But, for the most part, people are afraid of a lot of the weirder produce that's out there. I always laugh when we talk about American grocery stores only have like 6 vegetables. You've got, corn, you've got zucchini, there's green bell peppers, tomatoes. It really doesn't go much further than that. But if you go to any farmer's market, you're bound to see, a lot more variety. I want to talk about access, and I want to talk about people getting into farming as well a little bit more. But we've got some questions in the comments that I want to bring up. And really, people are just asking about standards, asking about how farmers are vetted, why the public should trust. And I know a lot of farmers markets go out and vet. And of course, there's the big looming question that everybody always asks every time we do anything, which is about organic. So why don't we just go ahead and cover that right now and talk about how farmers markets vet, what's the best practice there, what should they be doing, and then let's just talk about organics for a minute too.
That is one of our favorite questions, is this
Always.
organic at the market? But it does serve as a teaching moment for sure. So at Good Local Markets, we're producer only, and we are quite strict on vetting our vendors and our farmers, which I think is a good thing, because you want to keep farmers and farmers markets. So we're very much on top of that with our standards. So our rule is that everybody has to come from a 150-mile radius of Dallas, and they have to grow or make what they sell at market. And we're on top of that by inspecting. So we actually go out to farms a couple times a year to inspect to see, yes, they're growing what they're selling at market. Yes, there's ethical treatment. It's not farm factories that we're bringing in, but it's the real deal that's at our markets. And it's actually really fun for us to visit the farms also, because it helps us tell the story about what we've seen and what the farmers are doing. And a lot of time we find that some of our farmers or vendors that come to market, they don't want to share their story as much, or they're shy, or you're just not, they're just not social. So obviously I am. So I am happy to share the story about how hard they work and what I've seen. And I think that's such an advantage of what our markets do, or producer only farmers markets do, is we're able to share the hard work of what they do because we've seen it and we visited it.
Right.
And it also creates this sense of real transparency about this is how they farm, or learning about the methods they used. So it's tricky, and I think it's important for a consumer to look at farmers market standards and rules, and what are they doing to ensure you have farmers and local people. And I think a lot of it is what the farmers market's rules are. Right.
That makes sense.
That's the same way we do it.
Mm-hmm.
The same way our markets are. What are our markets 50 miles apart? So we're 150 miles around our market from Fort Worth. Everyone's got to be within that range. We inspect everyone once a year. It's part of their membership fee. Which leads, I think, closely into the organic discussion.
Yeah, definitely.
Because when we're out there, we can see how they do it, right? Of course, we want humane treatment of animals. All of ours available at our market is grass-fed and grass-finished. But organic growing is particularly difficult in Texas, where it's a particularly harsh environment. So I don't really fault people who have bugs that they don't have in other places in the country, because it doesn't get very cold here during the winter, and all of the things that we have to fight. Now, I do it personally because I'm a regenerative ag kind of guy, but I don't fault anybody who does their best. And if their best is conventional growing, at least we have conventional food, which we're super, super short on.
Right. Right.
A couple of things to add. I think we haven't seen here in the Metroplex an advantage to carrying an organic certification, a market advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that has to do with the fact that the farmers that are growing that in those using those methods can tell their customers how they're doing it. So they have a personal relationship, and that's where the trust is.
Yes.
We're not to the point where we need that organic certification to provide a level of trust in what those practices are, because the farmer will talk to you about it, or you've got a market manager who will tell you all about it. So I think that's a reality for us. And I don't remember what there was something else, but I don't remember what it was.
Well, we've got some time if you think of it again, but I'll just mention that, on the organic thing, of course, when people are starting to talk about buying farm produce and going to farmers markets for the first time, they just sort of assume everything is local and organic. And of course, that's not the case. It doesn't necessarily mean that the product's local, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the product is organic. But I will say that a non-organically grown product doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. When we're talking about what does it mean to actually grow something organically, it doesn't all track directly to maybe the things that we think it does as consumers all the time, and it tends to throw a wrench in the spokes of people that are trying to do really, really good work around your local food systems. And so when you hear people like this who are representing all these wonderful farmers markets and organizations talk about, organic, that really ought to get you thinking as a consumer about, what are the real quality identifiers when I am thinking about food? And I think we've pointed out some of those already, which is like knowing who the farmer is, right? And actually having that conversation. And there's certain practices that you're really trying to figure out what's going on in your area. Talking to the people who grow the food is the way to go. They're very transparent about everything that they do, and they love to talk your ear off about how organic can kind of be a problem sometimes, right?
Well, yes, but I've known farmers who have lied and said it's their product when they actually bought it from their neighbor down the street. And it's a problem across the country, but I think we've also suffered from it in the desire to have all these markets, and what happened previously with the Dallas Farmers Market, they would say, yeah, I grew this, instead of saying, well, we bought it from the guy that brings it up from South Texas. Yeah. And there's really nothing wrong with that. We don't have that bigger conversation of, a lot of the produce at the roadside stands in North Texas is bought at the nighttime wholesale market downtown. Mm-hmm. It's not a bad thing. It's probably coming much more directly from the farm than if you went to the distributor. We just need to be honest about it. If you're buying at that roadside stand, you're still buying from a small independent business. And so there's layers of participation in the local food movement. And I think that conversation is a great one to have, because people need to be able to access and to enter the system where they can, what their affordability level is, how much they can do if it's just buying organic at the grocery store, or giving the grocery store a hard time if they say, if the tag says local and it's then for something from California and they haven't bothered to change the tag. That's a thing in my mind, is keeping people accountable. So I think we need more than just the three or four farmers markets we're talking about today, like with us, but we need to be honest, and we need those selling at farmers markets to be honest. If we had transparency, it would benefit everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great point. One that I like to make is that a 100% local food system only works in a few key places in the world. And for the most part, if we want to keep having a cosmopolitan diet full of all sorts of weird food, and I think we do, then we have to import foods from other places. But you can also make wise decisions about who you're bringing those foods in from as well, right? So a lot of people look at this as a black and white issue. Like, we need more farms, we need to grow everything here, we need to move it all local. And that probably isn't realistic, but there is a nice hybrid model where you do know what grows really well in your area, and you're encouraging farmers to grow those products and keeping the things that make sense local, mm-hmm. and maybe buying less of the things that come from other places and really focusing on the local food supply instead of, thinking that we have to be seeking this level of perfection that probably is unattainable. We can help more people by spreading the love a little bit more, I would think.
We can dream about it. We can dream about it. And
yeah, I'm a big dreamer.
Our sights, and then we can figure out what the reality is really going to be and make it as good as possible.
I think the way we make that hybrid model work is by starting with the big three. Like tomatoes, hands down. Go eat a tomato at your farmer's market. It'll change your life. For me, second, cantaloupes. A cantaloupe, you cannot buy a cantaloupe in a store that tastes the same as what you picked the day before.
Yeah, true.
Full slip from the vine, able to travel in the back of a truck. And surprisingly, my third one is actually eggs. The eggs that people grow around here are just 10 times better.
They're good eggs.
Better than the free-range ones you can buy at the store. They're just richer. They care for their chickens better, and it shows up in the. Those are the three flavors, I think, for people to start with.
And the reality is, livestock and eggs are easier to do. They're easier to produce here in Texas. We really should, and we have there are other issues around processing that are keeping some of that growth from happening. But that's where I think we can really shine even more, is having a broader abundance of chicken and pork and beef and eggs and that kind of thing in our diet, and moving away from the consolidated industrial meat.
Meat. Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you. I want to make sure we have a chance to ask a couple more of these questions from the audience. And I also wanted to make sure we had a chance to talk about this Tarrant County Food Policy Council and kind of what that's all about, and if there's something similar to that in Dallas County, or there should be. But before I ask you about that, Caitlin in the comments was asking about online availability, and if any of these markets have moved to a place of being able to sell product online, or accept EBT payments online, things like that, just to make it a little bit more streamlined for the modern age, or if that's something that people have thought about or talked about yet.
That's part of the distribution problem. We wind up, if people are ordering online, then we have every farmer from the farmers market driving all over town to drop off vegetables.
Yeah.
It becomes an issue. All of our farmers, our closest farmer is, so we have one urban farm that drives 8 miles to our farmers market, but everybody else is 30 miles or more. And then driving around town to drop off vegetables. Online ordering to pick up at the farmers market seems to be picking up. But as far as delivery, I think we're decreasing efficiency by that method.
Yeah, delivery is tricky.
And the food hub concept is a solution for that delivery, except now with the new Food Safety Modernization Act, we have farmers that have to be aware of how much they're selling to a distributor, and food hubs are considered distributors. So it's a whole other topic. But also, as far as accessibility in terms of food access for people who don't have good access to fresh food, there is not a good way to meet the needs of, or the demands, the expectations of EBT processing online without a really sophisticated online platform. I'm sure that's going to get better in the next few years, but right now I think Amazon and Walmart are the only two. There may be somebody else that's come on board right now. But there's such level of security, and you have to be able to enter a PIN and all this kind of stuff, that it's gonna be more difficult to do that. And then you still have the issue of people in those neighborhoods that need food don't have connectivity to the internet. They might have a phone and they have to wait till they're on Wi-Fi to be able to access something, or maybe they don't even have a phone. So that's working right now. So I think there are lots of issues that we have to think about in who we're serving.
I think that's a really good point. I wanted to ask you guys about this Tarrant County Food Policy Council and the work that's going on there, because it seems to me that, there's maybe three big things that I take away from these conversations, which is that we need more farmers. which we can talk about. We need more customers, and we also need the government to get on board a lot of the times. We need the public to actually have a plan and desire the thing that they want, and then see it through into reality. You know, it takes a lot of people and a lot of effort. And so I wonder, you know, with you guys and what you're doing with that council, you know, if you can talk a little bit about that, and maybe if there's some ideas that can spread.
You're the boss, Susie.
I guess I should go. I am technically, Tarrant County has been so nice to let a Dallasite be the chair of the Tarrant County Food Policy Council, because
That is very friendly.
yeah, it really is. But I've had experience and training in food policy and got involved with them fairly early on. It's a fantastic group of people, and I've loved getting to know them and understanding Fort Worth more in the food scene. You know, food policy councils have been kind of created to support development of logical and supportive policies at both the local and state levels, working with what that local community or that state needs to have. And so Tarrant County Food Policy Council works with Tarrant County and has been able to really support and push through some ordinance on urban farming, which Charlie can talk more fluently about than I can, and impacting some of the things that are happening in Southeast Fort Worth and the programs and food access projects and supporting those things. It's a great group of folks to get involved with. I encourage you. Right now we're doing online meetings. So we meet every other month with our council, and then our board meets in between that. And yay, Becca's our vice chair this year.
Oh, right on. Great.
Amazing. And so you can join much more easily. You can come be a part of the meetings much more easily right now. We are streaming those on Facebook. Charlie, you want to say something else about the ordinance? And then also about Dallas.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was the Food Policy Council and the Blue Zones. All of this happened right before I joined. So there was a lot of collaboration together to get the Urban Ag Ordinance passed in Fort Worth, which makes it selling from home easier to grow, removes all those barriers, because the city council and the mayor of Fort Worth are very interested in getting urban ag going. I'm a member of Grow Southeast, where we work in Stop 6, which is an in-need neighborhood that was built in the 50s, and they thought, well, nobody could live on less than an acre, so each one of the lots is a half to an acre. So
what
they're
a dream.
right. And they're fantastic places to farm, but there are people there who have no income except for their parents' land, and it becomes a great way for us to try and support some urban agriculture. So we're getting farms started down there. In fact, this morning I was at Greater Mount Tabor. They have a piece of land off of Berry Street, and we were able to break ground on their farm yesterday.
Great.
So we're growing more farmers in Stop 6 through the Grow Southeast program. I've had 3 conversations in the last week that we're going to have to do a Grow Southwest for the more financially capable farmers, because there are lots of people who want to do it. But there's also lots of people, you probably get this one a lot, Casey. I get dozens of people who come to tell me about the agricultural utopia they've designed in their head that they would like somebody to.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a great concept, except you got to build it, right? If you don't have boots and shovels, you're not going to get very far. If you are interested, if anyone's interested in growing and they're on the west side of Fort Worth or anywhere in Fort Worth, west side of 360, they can get a hold of me at shinesfarmstand@gmail.com, and I would be glad to either get them connected to the resources they need or help them get started if they're just ready to start digging.
That's great. That's great. And, we're talking about just briefly here before we get going, if people want to get into farming, I feel like this is a really good time to do it. Everybody's talking about that a lot. Obviously, there's the opportunity you can grow things even in your house, right? And so I wanted to ask, it sounds like Fort Worth has done a lot of work toward making this easier for people. Have similar initiatives been taken up in Dallas yet?
In fits and spurts, yes, they have. In 2015, through the most food policy that's happened in Dallas has happened in conjunction with the Dallas Coalition for Hunger Solutions, which is a collaboration of a variety of groups. But we have an urban ag action team, which I've been involved in. In 2015, we worked with city staff to kind of rework our existing community garden ordinance into an urban garden ordinance. We have since found some of the barriers, and there's now conversation among several of us about being really ready to push to fix what's wrong with that ordinance so we can make it easier for folks to get started growing on a city lot. There is the city of Dallas has said they want to start a food policy council. What I'm hearing right now is that city staff, so the city staff has come to talk to those of us in the food world. We want a food policy council that is not directly run by the city. We want an independent entity that the city participates in. City staff can't conceive of that. The only thing they seem to be able to conceive of is the city commission, which is not what we want. So we're at a little bit of an impasse on that at the moment. But there's a lot more. I think this has started since we've all been stuck in our various places with COVID-19. We've started some other conversations and some new initiatives are coming around. So I think there's time. The time is right.
For sure.
Good. I hope that more people can get involved with those kinds of things. And if there's, specific messaging around that or calls to action to get that kind of stuff moving in Dallas, I think people will be really behind that. And we'd love to amplify that as much as we can. I want to, highlight a couple of the big points here today. The biggest one seems to be that we really need more people to participate in farmers markets, and whether that's growing or buying or proselytizing, like we all do, all of those things sometimes. People really need to get involved into creating the world that they want to see here, right? We hear a lot of people complain that DFW isn't what they want it to be. But that really is their own fault for not making it that way yet. So we have to, we really all need to come together and work toward that and actually support the things that we want to see in the world instead of just being tourists, and then that's where, and I think that's where what Susie's talking about comes in, where we start going after the legislation and the governments and stuff to really make the changes once we run into these walls. But there really isn't a lot of need to make a lot of big changes yet until we have enough people that are willing to, actually build all the new stuff and really get it going. So I'm hoping that this moment in time is enough to kind of start pushing some of those things over the ledge. And, we start moving into a new phase of farmers markets in North Texas, because I'm sure you've all been all over the country and seen what it can be like in other communities. And the biggest difference there isn't the enthusiasm of the farmer or the market, it's the enthusiasm of the customer every time, right? You see a big difference. And we've got a lot of enthusiastic people, obviously, in our audience, and you guys do as well. I want to thank you all for coming and joining me today. And
I'm sorry.
Please, there's time to add more things. Totally, absolutely, go crazy.
Thank you. One more thing that I feel is pertinent to this conversation is that we're looking at 2 nonprofits and a farmer co-op, and we all struggle with funding in one way or another. And there is a national organization of sustainable food system funders. There might be one foundation in Texas that's part of that. And right now, but I'm not positive on that. Right now, one of our issues really is what we're doing is not a standard local foundation, at least in Dallas. It's not in the standard local foundation view of funding or scope of funding. And so we not only need community support, but we need to we all also need to begin to push those foundations a little bit more, because we're pushing for change that is really about community. And but we do struggle with that, and that does limit our capacity. We can go after federal grants, but there's the competition and other issues there. So I guess I'm going to put out the call that another way folks can support is to donate and be a regular supporter of all of our organizations. And sometimes that's by shopping, but there's also cash donations are welcome.
I mean, cash money makes the world go around. Let's be real. Everybody can use it. And I want to ask you a specific question as well about that food policy concept, that council. Who specifically gets to decide if we get to do that or not in Dallas? Who can you name names? Is it city council? Is it the mayor? Like who would need to be convinced to make something happen?
I actually think it's a funding capacity issue. We've had conversations. Several of us have in the last few years, we did some focus groups. We kind of know what we'd like to see. We kind of know who is equipped to even manage that council. Sure. But we don't have any funding to create the position that would make it run. Because, for example, the Dallas Coalition for Hunger Solutions only works because we have backbone staff. The rest of on the coalition leadership team are volunteers, but we have a staff person that drives everything that we do, and she's fantastic, and that's why we've done anything at all. So I think that's our real issue of figuring out where that funding might come from. We know we can get the interest in the participation from people. That's not a problem.
Got it. Okay, so money and people as usual, right?
Yeah.
As with all things, like that can change the whole world. I want to give the rest of you an opportunity for some closing remarks, if you have any, and let people know where to find you online, and check out what you guys are doing, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I agree with Susie. We do, everyone loves us. Nobody wants to help fund us. But you can find us Good Local Markets Saturdays, White Rock Farmers Market on Garland Road here in East Dallas, or on Sundays in Lakewood on Mockingbird and Abrams. And you can find our info, Facebook, Good Local Markets, Instagram, Good Local Markets. Our website is goodlocalmarkets.org. And I also want to encourage anyone that is interested in doing it, that is growing, that wants to be a vendor, that's thinking about what the process is. We are definitely a resource for you to ask questions like, how do I set up as a vendor? So please think of us not only as a farmers market organization, but as a resource for you to take the next step in making a profit. Also, we were talking about people that are doing backyard growing. My husband and I do urban chicken, so we are chicken people. So if people are interested in backyard chickens, it's a whole nother world.
Oh, yeah.
And a whole nother topic. But there are resources out there for you to get growing.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm just going to ramble a little bit. Cowtown Farmers Market is Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon, and Wednesday, 8 a.m. to noon. Our Wednesday market tends to be a smaller market, so it's not huge and swamped, but that's where we make sure that we have plenty of tomatoes and cantaloupes when they start showing up. And also, if you follow us on Facebook, we will update where our neighborhood market will be, the Farmers Market Nutrition Program, the Cowtown Neighborhood Markets. We're doing those mostly on Thursdays, except our Arlington one every 4 weeks is on Tuesdays. Grow Southeast and Opal's Farm are two farms that I work with, and they all need volunteers. Every farm needs labor.
Yeah.
That's always the case.
And then, as Susie had said, join us on the Food Policy Council. One thing that we did was, along conjunction with Blue Zones, we brought Malik Yakini from the Detroit Black Food Community, I think is pretty
Detroit Black Food Security Network.
Black Food Security Network. We brought him down, and he discussed how they set up their Food Policy Council. He's actually been around and seen some food policy councils that were started by the local governments, and then some that are grassroots started. And I'm really glad that ours is grassroots oriented, just like just like I'm glad that our farmers run our market, because it
me too.
it stays dedicated without getting polluted with bureaucracy.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. Thank you for all of that. I think we desperately want one of those as well. And Susie, can you remind us where to find you and keep track of everything you've got going on as well?
grownorthtexas.org is also an option, but Facebook and Instagram and actually Twitter, I'm not sure anything goes to Twitter right now, but we do have Twitter page, is Grow North Texas. And then Market Provisions has its own Facebook and Instagram.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, thank you all so much for coming. We're going to have to get together and do this again. I know that we've probably started a lot more questions almost than we answered today for people at home, but we wanted to take advantage of this opportunity really in the market that people are looking around and they're thinking about these things. And we, the refrain that we hear over and over again from people is, I just don't feel like there's the right kind of stuff going on in DFW. And it just isn't true. You're just not a part of it yet. So reach out to these fine people and help them out. And let's see if we can't turn DFW into what everybody dreams that it could be. I think it's right within our reach here. So anyway, thanks so much, everybody. Hope you enjoyed your lunch break. And we'll see you all back next week.
All right.
Bye, all.
Bye.
All right, thanks, y'all. Bye.